Recently, I had the most profound, amazingly awesome experience, and not long after it occurred, I understood why it happened and how I allowed it to happen. But not only that, I was able to comprehend all the seemingly inconsequential happenings that were the connectors to this incident. So, I'd watched a video with a man talking about his psychic abilities, and then a few days later, I met a woman who just explained to me how she just understood maths. She didn't understand how she got the answer, she just knew. She just knew the answer without the formula. So these were interesting conversations and teachings, but I didn't know how impactful they were or relevant they were to the development and understanding of my own abilities until this recent phenomenon that I experienced happened. But it wasn't just watching a video or having an interesting conversation. For me to have experienced what occurred, I also needed to be present, plus have faith and love in myself. Some may say faith or love for God, but without the faith, the undeniable belief in yourself or your God, which I believe is the same thing, then the experience, the ability that we all have access to, provided we present with the recommended ingredients, then it may be a challenge to receive. So the easiest way to tap into these abilities that are often referred to as gifts is to be present and to have faith. Faith is belief without doubt. Faith in yourself allows your dreams to manifest, but the best place to do this from is in the present moment. So what happened to me? I was present, 100% attention, although I wasn't trying, I just was, and I received a message that defied my comprehension of my knowledge regarding the health of a friend. This friend of mine is highly sensitive to the workings of his body. In fact, I'm often amazed at the depth of his perception and connectedness to the inner workings of his body. However, he has a lifetime of experience in sport and therefore has acquired knowledge plus the connection possibly expected from living that lifestyle. It still amazes me though. Anyway, as he explained his symptoms and tried to make sense of them all, two words became known to me. In a matter of a few seconds, I hesitated to share them, but I had a more overwhelming sense that I should. So I instantly was aware of the words that weren't spoken or seen. I just became aware of them, in the same way telepathy has happened for me before. It's a knowing. So then I wondered what the words meant, and figured they could be a message, but also instantly followed by doubt. But thankfully, overwhelmingly knowing I needed to tell him them. The words were vagus nerve. Now, I have a limited knowledge of physiology, but I did study this almost 30 years ago when I learnt massage, and from being a dental nurse at the start of my working life. So when I say I don't think I've heard of the vagus nerve, I truly don't recall knowing about it, but I can't say I've never heard of it before because maybe I have. Anyway, one thing is for certain, when I mentioned the words to my friend, neither of us knew the meaning, so I googled it. So as it turns out, the vagus nerve is also referred to as the vagal nerves and is the main nerves of our parasympathetic nervous system. It controls specific body functions such as digestion, heart rate, blood sugar, and our immune system. These functions are not consciously controlled by us, they happen involuntarily. The amazing part is that the symptoms that were listed in Google were what my friend had been experiencing, and not just today, or not just that day, but for some years. So you can possibly imagine the astonishment I felt from revealing the words. Basically, my connectedness, my presence and attention allowed me to acquire knowledge that I believe we all have access to when we are tuned and tapped into the present moment. So when we're in this state of being, we have no expectations, we're not thinking thoughts from the past, we're not projecting forward to the future, we are simply attuned to the moment. And in that moment, as I listened to him, I was suddenly conscious that two words presented in my mind. How do we know when we're tuned into the moment, though? The way I believe to be able to successfully work at being present is for me to become conscious of our thoughts. This allows us to understand our thoughts better and realize how much and how often we don't live in the moment. Unfortunately, because this is not taught to us, we, being most people, we live allowing thoughts to just happen, and then the thoughts dictate our emotional well-being. However, when you take control of your mind and your thoughts, you can understand your emotions and where they derive from, why they happen, and gain insight to your well-being. It's also interesting to notice how we do not live in the moment very often. Instead, our egoic mind, or the non-physical part of ourself that is part of the physical aspect, controls us. In comparison to when we're in the present moment, we are connecting to our essence, our soul, which is our spiritual aspect that is connected to Source, God, love, collective consciousness, to offer just a few labels. When we're in the moment, connected to everything, the answers to everything that we want are available to us. It's easy to recognize when you are in the moment. Consider this. Have you ever just been observing nature, maybe during a walk or a ride, and you feel this incredible energy with tingles, vibration, love that feels so beautiful you could cry with happiness, or maybe just leaves you feeling in awe and amazement? This is you connected. You're feeling universal, unconditional love. Life is beautiful, and for me in those moments, I want nothing more. Everything is there, and it is truly magnificent. So if you've ever experienced overwhelming contentedness and joy, then that is connecting while in the moment. There is only ever this moment, nothing past, only memories, nothing future, only dreams and goals. There's only ever now. So what I also gained from my experience the other day was the stepping stones that had led me to that moment. It was like the final healing of an old past wound, a wound that I thought I'd healed, but this was like removing the Band-Aid to see the healing had taken place. I was acutely aware the stepping stones had included the retraining of myself to love and accept myself, where for most of my life my own insecurity of believing I was not intelligent enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough, suddenly completely dispelled as I understood that my love and acceptance allowed me to access my knowledge from accumulated lifetimes to flow. Where my insecurity had blocked me, I was now fully aware of so many learnings that had brought me to now. I had accepted myself as I am for some time, maybe a year or so, and through my acceptance I've discovered I am so much more than I ever knew. But it took me time to receive my wisdom, to be in the present moment. My book, The Key, I always wrote in the present moment. I gained so much insight of myself when I wrote that. So from my understanding, the key essential ingredients needed to access our gifts or tap into knowledge or feel the vibration of love of God, we need to love and accept ourselves and immerse ourselves in the present time, devoid of egoic past or future, devoid of doubt and fear. From this simple standpoint, the world is truly our oyster, but it already feels like the pearl. So finally, the vagus nerve or vagal nervous system contributes to so much of the body, and when we consider the word nervous system, how would we expect to overcome a nervous issue? Following a regime that restores balance and rectifies imbalance by creating harmony. The recommendations to restoring this balance are not a pill, but instead breath work and meditation, cold water immersion, massage, gentle exercise. All these remedies help bring you into the now. There is no anxiety in the present. Anxiety is fear-based, and there is no fear in love, in presence. Thank you for listening to me today. I hope you find this video fascinating and inspiring. I highly recommend making time for yourself to be present and feel the beauty offered in that space, the knowledge on hand to us all, the gifts that we possess if we would just let go and have a go. Get outside, walk in nature, and feel and breathe it in. Declutter your mind and become conscious of the thoughts you have. Life is truly beautiful. Love is the answer. Ciao.